Sales of Victoria real estate are up. Or are they? Despite the world's turbulent economic times, we are still seeing healthy activity and very competitive atmosphere for buyers who are boots to the ground in Victoria. And yet we're starting to see signs that this might not last. Watch the end of the video and I'll explain where we think things might be going. I'm Sean P. I'm a real estate agent serving Victoria, BC, and I make YouTube videos to try to help people understand the market and navigate their move. If this brings you value, please like and subscribe so you don't miss anything that we have coming up. And if you want to talk about how our market affects your plans to move, you can use the link in the description to get in touch with me. I'd love to have a conversation. Okay, let's get into this. Let me set the stage by just saying that pretty much unanimously, industry professionals were expecting that 2025 would be the year that our real estate market would return to a little bit of normalcy. It had been a couple soft years with interest rates being higher. We had a lot of standing inventory on our market, and starting last summer, we were seeing a consistent trend of downward interest rates. This really helped, and then towards the end of the fall, we saw several months where we received double interest rate drops, which really stoked the market. In fact, in December, we saw a 28% boost in year-over-year sales. So it's not unreasonable that people who are boots to the ground were looking at it and thinking that with spring right around the corner when real estate tends to pick up, we would see a really healthy year. I do want to say, over the past few decades, we've seen a lot of years where markets in Canada would see 10 or 20 or even 25 or 30% price growth year over year. And that is not what we were expecting. It's not what we hoped for. It's not really a healthy thing for any market. We just wanted to see positive price growth because 5, 6, 7%, something like that would add a lot of consumer confidence to the market, and everything in the market was pointing to this being a reasonable expectation. Now, the experience coming into 2025 for purchasers and sellers and agents alike has very much been what we would expect it to be in a market that was starting to go upwards in price. We're seeing properties that are priced well and showing well, selling usually in just a few days. We will also often see properties pulling 2, 3, or 4 offers. We're even seeing properties that sell in the first day or two getting multiple offers for a backup spot. So you'll have your property sold and the purchaser's going through their conditions, and you'll have 2 or 3 people get into competition just to be in second place. So this all is the perfect storm for positive price growth. With all of this, why am I sitting here saying that there might be a problem? Well, the problem is that despite the fact that we are still up on sales, we have seen a steady decline in the amount that we're selling compared with last year each month. So when we look at January this year, we were showing a 24% boost in sales. Now, in December, just 1 month before, we showed 28%, and that's enough to shrug off. It's not a huge difference. Yet when we came into February, we only showed 12%. That's a little bit surprising considering that February is usually when the market starts to pick up. And last month in March, only 4%. Now, throughout all of this, we are seeing an inversely proportional growth in the number of standing properties we have on the market. So our inventory is growing, and basic supply and demand tells us that if this continues, we could be in for a challenge. Now, remember, if you've watched some of my previous reports, one thing that you'll know is that we sat in a balanced market throughout the course of all of last year, typically sitting on between 4 and 6 months of inventory. So if we grow our inventory, even just by a little bit, we'll quickly enter into a buyer's market atmosphere. So when we look at all this, one question we should ask ourselves is, could this all just be a fluke? Maybe we're just out on our own little island here and, we're caught up in things. Well, unfortunately not. When we look across the nation at other large cities, we see in Vancouver a 13% drop in sales, Calgary showed 19%, and in Toronto, a 23% drop in sales. I'm fortunate to be well connected throughout the country, and I have friends in all of these cities, and unanimously they're telling me that it is a very scary time in their market. So what do you do with all this? Well, remember, despite the fact that all of the figures are pointing towards a potential for a challenging year ahead, We are still experiencing a red hot market boots to the ground. Well-priced properties that show well are selling very quickly, and they're often getting more than one offer on them. So if you're considering something, now is the time to sit down and strategize. And I'm telling most of my people, get to it sooner than later. If you have any questions about your specific plans or you'd like to strategize with me, I'd love to help. You can use the link in the description to do just that. As always, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you taking the time with me, and we'll see you on the next one.